please.
We're live and recording and all the technology is working so far. Guys, I can't say enough. Like, I know sometimes I take technology for granted, but the things that we can do now is amazing. For example, and I'm just going to give you a quick business building tip because that was what I was working on with Cassie about 30 minutes ago. We think Ningxia Red is a great prospecting product to teach people outside our education group about. And so when we posted about our Ningxia Red happy hour, it was private to only our members. So Cassie said, Ange, let's send out packets, especially a bunch of us got packets for Black Friday so that we could send those to people as the same way that you would send out essential oil samples before a class or something that you're doing online. It's a great idea. But we had to have an event to attach them to. So I just created one on the Living Well Now page. I asked Cassie to post the steps that she's using to send out 20 packets. That's the challenge, to send out 20 packets at that silver and above level or even below that. Send out to people in the mail a packet, inviting them to the class, get them excited about trying the product, getting a feel for it, and then a bunch of our elite leaders are going to teach about the oil, not the oil. They're going to teach about Ningxia Red. So it's a great way for your non-members to get the information. We'll also do it on Zoom so that we can go live in the lifestyle group. So we have the event posted there as well, so your current members who aren't on Ningxia Red can benefit. So we think this is going to be a really great way to bring everyone together around the Ningxia Red happy hour spirit. Okay, that's on December 19th. And mark your calendars. It'll be at 7 p.m. Again, it'll be live on Zoom and live in the lifestyle group. But it's intended for people who are members and people who are non-members. It was really telling, I think, on Cyber Monday to find out who may have been ordering Ningxia Red for the very first time. And we're rolling out a challenge in January for 30 days of Ningxia. And so we want to encourage as many people as possible to see how life transformational this product can be for them as well. All right. Any other quick announcements, you guys? I know Angie's messaging with Jordan a little bit now, just to make sure our time zones were right. Anything else, Deborah? Shauna?
No, I see Jordan's name on the list, so it looks like she's on.
Yay. Good. Just as I put another bite of my protein bite in my mouth. That was perfect timing. Let somebody else say something for a minute.
We're excited to have Jordan on the call today. This is awesome and amazing. Love it.
Hi.
Good morning, Jordan.
And good morning. I have like the worst lighting in my car right now, but that's okay. Sorry, I'm a couple minutes late hopping on. My littlest daughter had something special at school this morning, so I had to come here, and took a couple minutes longer than I thought getting back out to my car. So
we actually love that.
Yeah,
no, it's totally great. It gave us a moment to do some promotion here too. So Jordan, we're so excited. Cool. I'm Angela. I know it says Living Well Now underneath my face. I want to acknowledge the other Living Well Now faces. This is Andrea Lehman, my sister in love, who is a diamond leader, who you know very well. And we weren't sure if Andrea had oral surgery this week, and so she's back, feeling good.
Yep, I know that all too well, girlfriend.
You know oral surgery.
I know it very well.
Mine went well.
So far, so awesome. Good for On. And then this is my mom under the other Living Well Now tag. Mom, you have to say something so you pop up on our screen.
Hey, Jordan.
My mom is Deborah. She's also a diamond. And
awesome.
Actually brought us all into the business in 2006 when she gave us all essential oils for Christmas. That's a little bit of our family story, and now we just keep kind of expanding the walls to invite more people.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. I'm actually going to move my car to the other side of the parking lot so it's not so much of a glare for you. So anyway, I'm so excited. I don't know if you want me to jump in or if you guys are doing this Q&A style, but either way, I'm ready to go when you are.
You start with us, I think, a little bit about who you are, kind of establish some of that. We know you as an incredible diamond-bound hostess. Many of our team has been to that event, but we know that you have many other roles as well. So it's pretty important that you are showing us, just the live, real person, kind of like, hey, I took my daughter I went to an event with my daughter, and now I'm live with you guys. As a Royal Crown Diamond, I do these things.
Yeah, I do not hire out everything for my kids. So I definitely live the real mom life. So a little bit more about me. Sorry, I'm like trying to get my car parked here so they don't think I'm crazy because I'm parked halfway in this lot in this spot. Okay, so a little bit more about me. Yes, I'm a Royal Crown Diamond in Young Living, but my first role is I'm a mom of 8 kids. And in that role, I started with 5 kids on my wedding day. My husband was a widower, and we got married shortly after, about a year and a few months after he lost his first wife to breast cancer. And so I had 5 little kids, 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9, right whenever I first got married. It was really, really intense. It was hard because I was like a mom of grieving children and a grieving husband still. So it was kind of this season of my life where I just was in a really depressed place and a dark place. So about 2 years after getting married and having 8 miscarriages and then a miracle pregnancy, truly, I was introduced to Young Living. And so it was kind of a thing that got me out of the house, and I really needed reprieve from just only going from like single, no kids, never been married, to 5 kids. And then all I did was like, I was working and helping with kids from 6 in the morning till 9 o'clock at night. And I really lost myself for a couple of years. So Young Living was just such a like great place. I had been praying for the Lord to give me just any kind of circle of influence, whether it was like a Bible study that I could lead or a Sunday school class or like anything. And then Young Living fell in my lap within a few months. So, and I didn't realize that's what was going to be kind of the answer to my prayer of asking for some kind of a circle of influence. And just so that I could have influence outside of my home, I felt like my identity was so like confused and lost during that season. And so it was just the biggest blessing. Started into Young Living. And then about a year and a half, 2 years into building the business, actually almost exactly 1 year into building the business, which was in the summer of 2014, I conceived twins naturally. And so I learned from that I had been completely healed during the first 2 years of use of oils, of endometriosis and polycystic ovarian syndrome. At that point, I was a platinum going for diamond. And I was like really sold out to the products, and I had got 100% chemical free. And then I found out the month that we hit diamond, which was in October 2014, I literally found out that month that I was having twins. That was the same month my husband quit his job and we moved. And that was the first round of the FDA crackdown. So all my Facebook groups I shut them all down. So it was a big transitional month. And I just had kind of, during that time, we had just moved, and I was, throwing up all the time and also homeschooling 6 other kids, and it was crazy. And so I kind of like stepped back a little bit from like the hustle. We hustled. We started, I enrolled in November 2012. And then I started building a business in August 2013, and I hit diamond in October 2014. And then that was the month that all that happened. So I was like, okay, I've been really running, like this is residual income. So I'm going to like sit on that for a little bit so I can like prepare for having twins and get ready to be a mom of 8 and all those things. So it was when my babies were 1 month old in June of 2015. Now, fast forward another year, I was missing my team badly. Like I missed just, the anticipation of the babies was gone. We were up at 3 a.m. I was nursing, and I just remember that night saying, I want to get back in front of my team as far as just being able to pour into them. I want to have an audience with them and like love on them and encourage them and build into them and like teach them everything that I learned. And in retrospect, what I did right, what I did wrong to get to that diamond rank. And so that was the night at 3 a.m. sometime in the middle of June 2015 that Diamond Bound was birthed. And I just posted at like 3 o'clock in the morning and said, hey team, you guys want to get together for a weekend in October? And I can tell you like everything that I ever learned in this business, and I'll just have a brain dump session with you all weekend. And they were like, yes. So we had 125 people there. I actually wrote the welcome book for Young Living members the summer before. So it was kind of like we had really entrenched in a process of onboarding people, but we hadn't entrenched in a process of like getting leaders really accelerated. And so Diamond Bound was that process. So then the following year we did it again. I took 2016 again completely off. My twins turned 1 that year. I was nursing the entire year. We were actually building a home the entire year, started my first garden on our land that year, and did a second Diamond Bound just for the same thing, to get back with my team again. And because I had been, out of commission, I was so inspired at Diamond Bound 2016. We had Jake Dempsey speak, Madison Vining spoke, Melissa Pepping, several awesome leaders, Aaron Rodgers. And so at that event, I was personally really inspired because that was the first year that we had Crossline. The first Diamond Bound, I just spoke the whole weekend. Second Diamond Bound, we actually had Crossline come in, and that was the first time I had heard Crossline leaders speak ever, was at Diamond Bound 2.0. And I was so inspired that at the end of November, the following month, is when we kicked off our run to Royal. And so we reopened a ton of Facebook groups, kicked off a 90-day run. I was like, team, like everyone's going to rank up. I'm going for Royal at the end of this 90 days. During that time frame, we grew massive amounts of OGV. We didn't hit it at the end of the 90 days. So I was at this crossroads, and some of you have heard this story before, or possibly about me talking about building momentum, but I was at this crossroads at the end of the 90 days. It was now February 2017. And I was like, man, I am so stinking tired. Anyone ever done a 90-day run and you're like, my brain hurts, my body hurts, I'm tired. Kind of recalibrated and just kicked off a really intense month for March. We did all kinds of BOGOs. We did, I kind of developed like the H1 Reach One concept, which I think is really now infiltrated into all of Young Living. I don't know if it was my original concept or if I heard it somewhere, but I'd never seen it done. But that's what we did that month. We gave away at Aroma Complete for someone who enrolled someone. We had about 400 first-time enrollers that month. It was just an amazing month. We hit Royal Crown Diamond. Haven't lost that since that time. We've maintained Royal every month, which has been a huge blessing for us. And so then at the end of that, I kind of did a bunch of reflection and like kind of was it a little bit like reeling of like, okay, now what? Like now what's my identity? Like what's like now that I'm here, what do I do next? Because I kind of used Young Living as a little bit of a crutch actually to not really have to dig into the situation at hand, which was my family, and it was really complicated, and it was lots of layers of lots of people, lots of dynamics, lots of emotions, lots of everything. And so then I started a magazine called The Farmhouse Movement, which is a nationwide publication that fall, which I felt like really embodied like my heart, which was like simple farmhouse living. We kicked that off for 2 years over 2018. We did a 2017 Diamond Bound, opened it up to all of Team Young Living. Now that we had hit Royal Crown Diamond, we had 1,500 people there. It was amazing. It was in Branson, Missouri. Tons of people were like, this was so good. Please do it again. So we decided to do it again in 2018. In 2018, I wrote several books and resources as kind of a reflection of here's what we did to build momentum. Here's what we did, the micro work. Here's the hard work that's needed of like kind of finding that identity again and digging into your identity. I don't know if you guys have ever heard my talk in 12 Days of Diamonds about identity that I did in 2017. And so just all of that, all of these like things that were just an overflow of like living and learning in this business. And so then we did Diamond Bound again this year. It was our 5th one. It was in Nashville, Tennessee. We had 3,500 in Chicago and over 5,000 this year in Nashville. And then I was going to call it quits. I was really tired. And literally like, I don't know if any of you were there, but on the stage at the last day, the last session, through tears, like I felt like the Lord just laid on my heart to just do it again. Like, he's like, trust me with this. And so we did. I truly, out of obedience, I don't know if you guys are Christians or not, but I am. And I just knew that it was being obedient to the Lord to do Diamond Bound again. I consider that just a place for people to get really real with themselves and with truth. And we encounter truth a lot there. So that's kind of my journey and how all of this started, and where we are now. And my Young Living business is thriving. We're really starting to grow again. We had a couple of new platinums and golds and a new re-ranked diamond last month. I know hopefully all of you guys had great month last month as well, and that you're continuing with that momentum now. So that's a little bit about it.
You're such a treasure. Thank you for sharing all of those pieces, and even laying out the timeline, I think, is so helpful. I got my paper and pencil out because for the practicality of it. But I want to come back to something that I thought was really poignant that you said early on, even when you were momming it, right, with 5 new babies, to you.
Yeah.
You said I chose to have more purpose. I knew God wanted to use me for more influence. As leaders that are up and coming, because we have brand new, people on this call, we have seasoned leaders, we have a very loyal and loving team. Can you tell me more about what that means to expand your influence and how you've been faithful to God? I'm just feeling led to ask you that.
Yeah. I feel like that the Lord has a unique purpose and calling for every single person. I think that it's easy for us to look at other people and say, well, that's their purpose, that's their calling, like I don't have anything special. But that's just not true. Like everything and every one of us, myself included, at that time, I just didn't feel like there was anything unique or special about me. And I didn't feel like that, I had a lot to offer. I felt very normal. I took my kids to the YMCA so I could work out and have an hour break every day. Like, I was very normal, and I know other moms have. Yeah. And so, I shopped at Aldi's. We lived on a budget. I loved Aldi's. We ate conventional food. Like, I didn't have anything that I felt like was noteworthy, and once the Lord opened up the door for Young Living and I was introduced to it, I fought a lot back of doing the business. I mean, you notice I said I enrolled in November 2012, and I didn't start building until August of 2013. And that whole year, I was really transitioning things in my life and in my home as far as products. But I will say that it was in May of 2013, the year that I started the summer before I really kind of took it seriously. I found my husband's first wife's hospice papers, which I had never seen since we had been married. And it was very shocking to my system to see her name on a formal document. The only thing formalized that I had seen her name on was her tombstone, and everything else had been removed from the house by her parents. So it was very shocking to me to see that. But I will say that because of what I had learned from November 2012 until May of 2013, I had been reading Chemistry of Essential Oils. I read Healing Oils of the Bible. I read the Dusk Reference. I was digging into this information that when I read that, I already had made the connection between toxins in our world and cancer. And I read that and my throat swelled up, my eyes got burny, I felt like I was gonna bawl. Like, I was so angry. And I saw my husband's name signed on that line to sign away her life the day before she died. May 26, 2009. And I will tell you that I think that a purpose and a calling for our generation is to be truth teachers. And I think it falls on the shoulders of everyone who knows truth across the board. Truth across the board. Obviously, there is only one way, truth, and life, and that message is more resounding than anything else. But there are other truths that have been hidden in our culture, and things that are subtleties, things that are masked to be really good, and we all know that they're really bad. Like, that is a truth and a passion that should rise up in every single one of us. And across the board, I feel so strongly that just in this season of our lives and our generation, there's just an awakening, and there's a need for each one of us to walk in that truth and that purpose. And as you walk in that truth and that purpose, I believe that more purpose and more dynamic purpose and more dynamic calling and influence will be revealed to you. For me, it was with Diamond Bound. It was revealed to me that this was a place that the Lord had called me to. It was within my giftings. It was within the strengths and talents that He had already given me, that I didn't have a place to use those. And each one of us have strengths and giftings and talents, and they might not be super public. And I was okay with whatever it was without it being super public. I was okay going into one living room at a time with 5 other women. And that's how we built a Royal Crown Diamond, was one small living room at a time that wasn't public, and nobody knew my name. And when I hit Royal Crown Diamond, I'm pretty sure everyone in the company was like, who is this new Royal Crown Diamond? I've literally never heard of her. Because I was not like, I did not do Young Living to be known. And yet the Lord was like, come up higher. Like, He was calling me to this uncomfortable place that was, deep crying out to deep. And it was like the depths of knowing my purpose were more revealed as I became obedient to walk in that. And so, I'm not trying to hyper spiritualize this, because in practical terms, like, you were born for a purpose, and whether you believe the spiritual aspect of that or not, it's still that you have a call on your life that is something that, a role that only you can fill. There's only one you, and there's only one person with your unique story. And every single person you encounter in Young Living, it is spiritual, at least Sonia, yeah. But every person that you encounter in your Young Living experience, not all those people know anything about essential oils. Not all of those people know anything about Young Living. So you know more than they do just by opening your starter kit. You know what an essential oil bottle looks like, and you know their names, and you know at minimum what they smell like, and you know that they have purpose in our home, and you've got a pocket reference, and you've got an upline support. And so ultimately, you know more than they do. And that is like almost, I don't want to like make it feel like manipulative, but it's almost an obligation to share truth with other people. And again, that's not like to be manipulative and be like, you need to be sharing this, you need to be signing people up, but like, you need to be sharing this. You need to be signing people up. You need to be getting people excited about seeking truth in their life. Because what I found is that whenever people are exposed to a truth, it opens their heart and it opens their mind to truth. And that opens the door to a lot of other things.
Oh my God.
So
powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful. It does. It does. And Jordan, you just brought a message that I think so many of us needed to hear, especially for such a time as this, right? Because you're right.
Absolutely.
The battle is begun, and it's important to stay firm. I just appreciate your passion and your boldness in sharing. And I also appreciate you saying this wasn't about a story for you, but it was a story about revealing truth. And God uses all people and calls all people to that and equips them along the way. You used another phrase earlier.
That's right.
Living and learning. I think sometimes people wait on their business because they think they have to gather all this, this knowledge or this maturity, and yet it is really about living and learning, launching and learning, leading and learning. It's all learning along the way. Yeah,
it's so true. So true. I look back at some of the first things I did in my business, and I'm like, I'm so embarrassed. It was like hilarious. We've all been there, so it's totally fine.
Well, and I appreciate so much what you've been able to do with Diamond Bound. Over here on the West Coast, we've been doing a similar thing for about the same amount of time with our Ignite event, seeing growth over the last several years, making a shift actually coming into 2020 that we are really choosing to focus on business and bringing people, igniting their business, igniting their purpose, igniting their lives. And so we're so glad that
awesome.
Your voice is going to be part of that experience in February 22nd and 23rd, 2020. Yeah.
Can't wait.
We can't really promise sunshine. We tried to promise sunshine in the past, but it doesn't always work out that way. But we will promise warmer temperatures. And
I will take it.
that's what we hear. We have team fly in from Colorado and Indiana and the East Coast. So this is a really, it's becoming more and more, again, like we had the same sort of call to action at the end of our event this year.
Yes.
I remember standing in a circle with you and Deborah and saying, okay, is this really where we're supposed to go? Because this is going to take a lot of get up and go action. And again, I think the same thing happened. God spoke and said, yes, absolutely. And so thank you for saying
I love it.
To that. What advice do you have for events? Like, give us a little bit about why Diamond Bound, why an event like Ignite or Diamond Bound is so powerful. Yes, we promote convention. Yes, we've promoted other events, but what is it that sets apart coming together around your business goals that you found for folks? And I think we round out our time a little bit.
Yeah, and cut me off whenever you want me to be done.
No, we will take you as long as you want to chat.
Well, I think, well, first of all, I don't feel like our events are at all in competition. So, I think that I am all for like get to events. I don't care where they are. I know that I'm doing what I'm doing in obedience, you're doing what you're doing in obedience. Therefore, like, it's the Lord's platform and he just happened to let me use it. You know what I mean? And so that's that. I feel no competition with anyone because I don't feel ownership to it myself even, other than just doing it with excellence. But as far as, getting to events, I mean, I remember Eric Worre said, leaders are born at events. And I remember hearing that really early on in my business. Actually, the very first convention that I went to, I didn't really let that take as much root as it probably should have, because I did so much face-to-face and like small micro work behind the scenes, lots of connections and things like that. But I remember him saying that, and I didn't even really fully process that until the third Diamond Bound, whenever we had 1,500 people there, and it was like an event, not just like a retreat, it was like a real event. And I just was like, man, like the enthusiasm that came out of that event with my own team, we doubled our OGV the year following. We absolutely, like, teams just killed it. We went from 1.5 million to 3 million in that window of time, because people came to that and they saw this is more than just a mom with a baby on her hip in a living room. This is like a global community that is passionate about truth, that is like unashamedly like speaking like how to dig into your heart and face fears and address like your character at the core, and how to show up for yourself and how to do hard work and how to be consistent. And they say those things from that stage with people in the audience and people that maybe were like, I don't really know if this is for me. They see 5,000 other people next to them, or 1,000 other people, or 500 other people next to them shaking their heads and like, yes. And it makes that person that has that doubt go, well, maybe there is something to this, right? When you're sitting behind a computer screen, it's easy for you to disregard stuff. But if you're sitting in an audience of people with everyone else agreeing, it's hard to disregard that, because you're the only, like, you're going against that like kind of communal like agreement, right? And it's actually called, like in marketing, the bandwagon effect, right? If somebody jumps on the bandwagon and everybody else wants to jump on the bandwagon, we also call it like fear of missing out. Like, I don't want to be the only person that disagrees with this thing, because what am I going to be missing out on if I do or if I don't? And so, I think that there's just a lot of power, like getting even into human energy and the human spirit that is like evoked with other people that isn't the same as sitting at home watching a screen, watching training on your computer or your phone. Just being around other people and having that, in a this is like a non-weird way, but having that same energy as everyone else, where you're just like, everybody's energetic about the same thing. Everybody's moving forward about the same thing. Everybody's talking about the same thing. Everybody's getting excited and kind of seeing the potential for the same thing. And it's just exciting, and it evokes emotions, and it evokes like mindset that other things like that are event-based, whether it's you mail out resources to business builders, or you send them videos to business builders, or you have a local business meeting or a launch meeting, or even retreats that are smaller are good. All of those things are good, and all those things should be done because those are systematizable. I don't know if that's a word, but they're systems. Those things are all systems, and that's good. But there's nothing that can replace being with people, uniting that human spirit of desire for excellence, that desire for like the pursuit of greatness. And we were created by a great God, and God is the author of excellence. And so there's nothing wrong with wanting to pursue greatness and wanting to pursue excellence. We watch those Nike commercials of the women that are like got a six pack and they're like doing high knees and they're dripping with sweat, and then they're like, Nike, just do it. And you're like, yeah. You know, because there's something about that drawing out of the human spirit, that desire for like more and purpose and excellence. And that happens at events, and it can't happen outside of events almost. I mean, it's really hard to get someone fired up in the same way in the parking lot of my school, someone that I'm trying to like get to be a business builder that's another mom of one of my kids' friends' moms. And I'm like, this is what you need to do. And she's like, oh my gosh. It's just you and me in this parking lot, Jordan. You know, it's like, have you guys seen that little clip of the guy who's like the motivational speaker, and he's like, or else you're gonna live in a van down by the river. You remember, right?
Yep.
So you need to go watch that on YouTube. You can do that at an event. You can't do that at home. You can't do that on someone's front porch. So the energy is just unmatchable. And then obviously content. Having a ton of content all in one place at one time. I call it full immersion. We talk about the immersive experience of Diamond Bound all the time. Of that, it's, you know, you get away from everything else going on in your life, and you can really fully submerge and immerse yourself into the business and think about it and actually dig into it in your mind and make it real in your mind, as opposed to always just kind of like, you know, oh, this would be a great idea. I'm going to try to do something. And then the baby's crying. And then the laundry is ready to be folded. And then it's time for dinner. And then you kind of are like, you dig this deep into the thought building, and you can't ever go further than that, because you're like kind of in it and then kind of out and then kind of in it. And this, in a weekend like this, you can go all the way deep. You just keep digging more, because it's just layer upon layer upon layer of content, and like allowing your mindset to go to the space of what would it actually look like. Like sometimes we think about it, such a good idea to do the business, but we don't actually go deep enough in our mind and our heart to say, what would it actually look like to be one of those people on that stage? What would it actually look like to be, you know, an amazing diamond leader like Andrea, or, you know, any of you other amazing leaders on here? Like, what would it actually feel like? What would it look like? What would my life look like? And a lot of times we just don't allow ourselves that space because we just dip our toe in and out of the business for so long.
So true. So true. And you were listing off Melissa Pepping, Jake Dempsey, people that had been at Diamond Bound, your second one or whatever. And I thought, gosh, Jordan, you've come a long way, girlie. You've tapped a lot of leaders. And I think that's part of the secret too. And I think that's what we've been bringing out the last couple of years. And especially this, we had Bethany Shipley last year. And so then having you be part of our lineup, I know, right? I mean, we learn so much from each other. And when we can relate with, what they're talking about. That's why we're so excited that you said yes to this opportunity. We're so thrilled that you're going to be part of that layering of content information at our event in February. We just can't get done saying thank you enough.
I'm so excited. I love this. I'm so pumped to build into you. And, I'm just praying that whatever is supposed to be said that day is said, and with reckless abandon. So
I love it.
Be prepared for that, because I don't usually withhold much.
That's how we like it. We like real, and we love deep. And you've given us both today. Sweet, so sweet that you were able to do this for us today. We really appreciate you.
Yeah. Thank
so
you.
much. And
I'm
I
so
know
honored. Thank you.
In the comments to you. They're super stoked to meet you and see you live and in person. We just admire you so much, but also just really respect and stand with you on the path to truth. So thank you for sharing today.
Thank you. Thank you. You guys are amazing. I'm so excited, and God bless you. And I'm honored, truly. I'll probably cry at least once between now and then because I don't feel qualified. But you know what? God qualifies people that are called into these things. So that goes for all of us. So,
Absolutely.
so thank you again. I'm so excited.
Thank
So
you.
God bless you guys. Have an
Thank-
amazing rest of your meeting, and God bless, and we'll see you very soon.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Jordan.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas too.
Christmas.
Okay.